All right, let's go run through the lab. Now, this is an Azure Policies Lab where we'll be creating policies and initiatives to block people from creating virtual machines in Western Europe. Now, I'm logged into the Azure console. I'll click on the search box and type Azure Policies. The first icon that looks like a hexagon, maybe half hexagon, that's what policy is. So you can click on that. Then you will see the dashboard for policy. Looks like we are 99% compliant with all the resources we got. You can also search for or filter based on the historical values of your compliance. How much compliant were you in last 7 days? Let's go create a policy definition. Now under authoring, you will see definitions. Let's click on it. There are a lot of inbuilt policy definitions that are right here. Let's click on one of them to understand what they mean. Click on this first one, which says audit Windows virtual machines in which the administrator group does not contain all the specified members. Now this is linked up to the following policies. The policy is this one and that one. So if this is true, then we are compliant. If not, we are not compliant. In this case, as agreed, we'll go and click on a new definition and create a new initiative here. Our initiative is to make sure that employees or administrators do not create virtual machines in a particular region or probably are allowed to create in a region. I'll call this name as allowed region. Okay. And then this will be in an existing category called as compute. You can choose whatever you want, but in this case, we are trying to narrow down and filter only for virtual machines, which falls under the compute category. On the right hand side, you can attach a definition to it. There are lots of inbuilt definitions right here. For example, audit resource location matches resource group location, which means that audit resource and the resource group must have the same location. Similarly, disk encryption should be applied on all virtual machines. So if disk encryption is not applied, then it is not compliant. Now, the purpose here is to point it to a location. So let's see if I can filter by location. This one right here, allowed location. This policy enables you to restrict the locations your organizations can specify when deploying resources. Okay, so I click on that and add it. You can read this for your further understanding, but basically that's what it means, that you will be allowed to deploy in this region, which I'll be selecting now in a minute. All right, it's added and you should be able to see it right here. So allowed location, the value is as follows. You can select the one which is applicable in this case, said Western Europe, and save it. Now my policy definition is created. The next step was to click on assignment and then create or assign an initiative. When we are creating the initiative, we will point you to the definition that we just created, right? Click on assign initiative. We do not have any exclusions, so we'll exclude it. Initiative definition name is something we can search right here. Now, what was the name? The location. Maybe allowed location. Yeah, this is what we created in the definition section. Allowed regions. Okay, and then we just click on assign. Now we'll be allowed to use just Western Europe as a region. We cannot create anywhere else. Let's go test it. I'll go to the virtual machine section, open a new tab, and wait for it to pop up. Then click on create virtual machine button and fill up those values. Select a resource group. Virtual machine name is new VM. I will leave it as Central India because we are just testing, and as per our policy, this virtual machine creation should just get failed. All right. Fill up these mandatory values. And instead of going through the wizard, I'll just click on review and create and see what happens. It should fail under validation is what I'm expecting. But let's just give it a minute. There you go. Validation failed. Required information is missing or not valid. Looks like the validation has failed and our policy kicked in. Now I'm going to go back to the previous section under basics and change it to Western Europe to see if it passes. All right, so now that's Western Europe staying compliant. Now review and create. Let's see. Okay, so the validation has passed, and that means the virtual machine creation will also succeed. So there is no need to click on create to verify it. Since the validation has passed, the virtual machine will be created based on the policy. So what we just proved here is that the policies will have definitions, and you need to then assign these definitions as an initiative. And after that, whatever policy is there inside the definition, it will trigger based on the rule set you have inside the definition. Now, in this case, we had a policy which said that, hey, we are not allowed to create virtual machines anywhere else except Western Europe. And that's what exactly happened here. When we created in Central India, it just failed, but creating in Western Europe passed the test. That's what policies are for. So policies are there to enforce compliance for different kinds of requirements or regulations that your organization may have.